From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Monday, March 2nd. Sorry for the delay on this Morning Pulse. We've been processing new information this morning, the latest from the U.S.'s efforts on Iran, as well as that press conference that just happened this morning. And we'll have some of those latest updates for you, as well as hear a bit from Secretary Pete Hegseth. But that being said, just starting things off on the lighter side, our question of the day was, security experts say it's never a good idea to do this in public. What is it? The answer was talk on the speakerphone. This is a huge pet peeve of mine. I guess that's also a security issue as well, but just keep that in mind. If you want to participate in our questions of the day, be sure to head over to our Facebook page, put in your guess. We read off your guesses and the answer on 1011 this morning. But that being said, let's get into our latest headlines. First off, starting off in international headlines with you for our first story this morning. That is just some video there from this morning's briefing at the Pentagon, but Iran and allied armed groups fired missiles at Israel, Arab states, and U.S. military targets around the region Monday, while Israel and the United States pounded Iran as the war expanded to several fronts. Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 American warplanes over its skies, but miraculously, we do know this morning that those in the warplanes somehow survived. Secretary Pete Hegseth calling the operation Epic Fury, and we're going to give you just some of the words he had to say this morning.
2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history.
And there you have it. But 4 U.S. service members have been killed during the U.S. attacks on Iran. The military announced this morning these deaths mark the first American casualties in a major offensive that President Donald Trump said could likely lead to more losses in the coming weeks. Command added, just like they said this morning, that, quote, major combat operations continue and response efforts are ongoing. So again, that is the latest that we have from this morning's update, but we're going to continue to keep you updated this morning as we work to learn more. Your second story, if you hadn't already heard about it, here you have it again. If you felt the floor shake a bit yesterday afternoon, you are not alone. We've learned 3 happened in Nebraska, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Now, this being said, kind of a bit of a shock on this one for some of us in the newsroom. Myself, Megan Conway, and Chanel Taylor McCarthy did not feel any of the effects of the earthquake. Our Brandon Rector did, but certainly a mixed bag there when it comes to those who did and didn't feel it. But that being said, to the facts, the first earthquake is the one people most likely felt. The report says it was south of Hastings around 1 p.m. Sunday and has been reported as a 4.1 magnitude earthquake. Second was reported just before 2:30 and wasn't too far from the first one. This one reported as a 2.6. Then a third happened a bit later, around 8:45. It was also reported as a 2.6 magnitude earthquake. Now, we heard reports of these all the way from central Nebraska to here in the capital city, some even going as far as the metro up in Omaha. We spoke with a couple of people who have experienced that feeling here. And we're going to give you that sound here in just a second. Let me get this going here. Let's see. Sorry about that, folks. I will just give you this sound bite right here.
I was looking at my phone, sitting at the table, and I thought at first maybe it was like the fridge or something.
Pretty much what happened was I was laying in bed and all of a sudden I felt shaking, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what's that? I thought it was my dog just shaking behind me, but then I was like, there's no way that was my dog.
For those of us watching this morning's Morning Pulse, I was trying to avoid that spring pop-up on the super there, but I'll just give you that update as well on the earthquakes, just popping that back up on your screen right now. Again, we don't know about if there are any damages, but again, from what we can tell so far, it was a very hit or miss on whether or not people felt the earthquake. But if there are any more updates to this story, be sure to stick with us at 1011now.com and our 1011 Now news app. Now, over to our crime tracker this morning. A man has been arrested after leading Lincoln police on a pursuit Saturday night with 3 kids in his car. LPD says they were called to Gateway Mall just before 9 p.m. on a report of a man doing donuts in the parking lot. Officers tried to stop 33-year-old Devontae Lulin, but he drove off. The NSP helicopter tracked him to 78th and Pioneers Boulevard, where Lulin and the kids got into a different car. Police say the driver of the second vehicle was Lulin's friend, but didn't know they were being chased by police. Soon after, the second vehicle stopped in a neighborhood, and Lulin was arrested and is facing several charges in that story. Your fourth story this morning, the Nebraska State Patrol is in the midst of an attempted murder-suicide investigation in rural Kearney County. NSP says when the Kearney County Sheriff's Office was called, 3 children and a woman were found with gunshot wounds. The woman was found dead, but the 3 children, all under the age of 12, were transported to a hospital in Kearney. 2 of them were then sent to a hospital in Omaha. Now, NSP says all of the children are expected to survive and that there's no threat to the public. Again, be sure to stick with us on air and online for the latest in this very sad story. Moving things over to the lighter side in sports news, the Huskers are lining up exhibition volleyball matches to start their prep for next season. We officially learned Nebraska is playing multiple spring matches away from Lincoln in the next few months, including the I-80 rivalry. Nebraska and Creighton will face off on April 17th in an exhibition match. Last season, first-year head coaches Brian Rosen and Danny Busboom Kelly had an all-time battle when the Huskers and Jays met, Nebraska winning the match, but with 5 sets. Certainly a nail-biter, and it was one of just 6 losses Creighton had all year. The April spring match will be in Omaha at DJ Sokol Arena, first serve set for 7 p.m. that Friday, and tickets will be limited as the arena only holds 2,500 fans. Public tickets will be on sale March 9th. Now, the weekend prior to the Creighton game, though, Nebraska will face Iowa State in exhibition. The match won't be in Lincoln or Ames, though, but rather Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And the game will be a homecoming for senior setter Bergen Riley, who's a Sioux Falls native. And wrapping things up with your final story, if you're a musical fan, this is the news for you. Hamilton is returning to the Lead Center as part of its Broadway series. Very exciting stuff. According to the university, Hamilton is the highest attended traditional performing arts show in Lincoln history. There will be 8 performances in April of next year from the 13th through the 18th. And for more information on other shows in the Glen Broadway series or how to get tickets, you can head over to this story on our website, 1011now.com, or our app or website. Now, just pulling up the list of all the other shows, it is quite the exciting lineup. Just getting my own list up here right now just for that announcement. You know what? Actually completely fell through. So just get excited for Hamilton. Be sure to head over to the Lead Center's website for all those shows and more that are going to be exciting for this lineup. But again, Hamilton's coming back to the Lead Center. We're going to now toss things over to Brandon Rector after a look at your 7-day forecast.
Good Monday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. We are going to be mostly cloudy to cloudy for today with a 20% chance of some drizzle and isolated showers. Those clouds may break up a little bit late this afternoon, early evening in the western part of the state. That's where it's likely going to be warmest for today. Temperatures at noon are going to be in the mid-30s to low 50s across the state. By 4, we'll see our temperatures around 40 to 60. And by 8 this evening, temperatures should be in the mid-30s to low 50s. In Lincoln for today, we're going to warm up into the low to mid-40s for this afternoon, a little below average for this time of the year, and it will be mainly cloudy with a 20% chance of some drizzle, maybe a few isolated showers.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.